So it's that time of the year again where I go over my favorite backpacking gear of 2018. I did this, of course, last year, so if you're interested in checking out that video, it's in the cards or in the description below. And so let's kind of get right into the 5 pieces of gear, my top 5 for the year. Number 1 for me has been the Superior Wilderness Designs Frameless 30. Going frameless, if you guys remember, has been one of those things I was not sure whether or not I would like it. But I do at lower weights. If I'm talking an ultralight base weight, it's been absolutely phenomenal. A lot more comfortable than I expected. Of course, once you start getting into higher weights, base weights, you're talking 13 pounds plus, getting more into the lightweight range, you start to feel it more on your back. But some things I'll go over quickly that I love about this pack. First of all, that bottom pocket that you saw me introduce, handy. I just keep my food in it, keep gloves, whatever else I needed in there. The straps are very, very comfortable, and just the design of they have a more aggressive S, and so of course it's light, waterproof. I like the X-Pack material a lot, and if you ever have a chance to check out a pack made by Superior Wilderness Designs, I highly encourage you to do so. There are a couple times where I've actually wanted to bring this, but so for example, my last trip, I actually wanted to bring this because I remember how comfortable it is, but at higher weights, which is what I was carrying, it wouldn't have been wise to do that. A small item that I've replaced in my pack, I used to carry this kind of Repel DEET spray. Most of you guys know it's just a travel size, just to kind of keep the bugs off, and this has gone the way of the dodo in 2018 because what I've been using, and it's been phenomenal, is picardin lotion. Not only do you not have to worry about your gear getting eaten up by DEET, check it out, it is true, DEET does eat through your gear. With picardin lotion, it's not greasy, it's something you can just smear this stuff all over, and it works so well. I always find that with the DEET spray, it kind of localized, at least the spray did, and it used to keep bugs off me in a certain area, and I kept having to reapply it. And so with this, I use as much lotion as I want. This was fantastic in Utah. I mean, there were some parts of those lakes where we're getting eaten alive by bugs, and as soon as I got the picardin lotion out, ran it through my hair, just around my neck, and it was blissful. So this will be going on a lot more trips, and it had to make my favorite gear because it's been long overdue. I especially liked it on my bikepacking trip in Ohio. Smeared it on my legs, which are bare when you're riding your bike, and especially through tall grass. And I fully anticipated getting a bunch of ticks, having to pick that off. None. 0 ticks through all that tall grass in Ohio in the summer, early fall, you know, is almost impossible. But this stuff repels it all. Let's see. Mosquitoes, ticks. Okay, I thought it was more than that, but bugs in general. Number 3 is this Lawson Equipment Ultraglide Bear Line. I don't remember which millimeter kind of gauge I got. I'll put it here on the screen just so I don't forget. But I know a lot of people like, you know, there are all these bear bag kits out there where you have your Z-Packs bear bag kit, your light as a feather bear bag kit, and I think a lot of those come with their own line. I know Z-Packs for sure has that ultra slick line, which I've seen Kyle use before on a different trip, and it looks really cool, looks really slippery, it doesn't really stick to the branch. I just wanted something that, you know, different. I've noticed that the Z-Packs line, at least, it seems a little waxy, which makes sense if it's not sticking to anything. This one is not, and it just reminds me of a non-stretchy paracord. I'm not sure exactly what kind of filament or fiber this is, but it really has worked, and it doesn't have any trouble snagging on lines, and for a 50-foot length, it's maybe an ounce and some change. And of course, because it doesn't come with a bear bag, you can use whatever bag you want. And so I've used cheap kind of outdoor products, Walmart style food bag. I've used a Z-Packs dry bag, not a bear bag, not their bear bag kit, and it really handy. and it's nice. You can just kind of toss it in your car. And so if the place you're going, I actually had this in the car with me on the last trip where I was planning on going to the Smokies, where you hang your packs. And so just in case I end up going somewhere where you can't hang your pack up using their cable system, it's nice to just have one. And something I never thought would be on this favorite backpacking gear list, but it is a tent. This is the Rainshadow 3 from Tarptent. You guys have seen this on all kinds of trips. I've been forced to use this. Luckily, Josh, Super Josh, was the one carrying it. But in Utah, especially, where I was forced to go to the ground, it was nice to have the option. There was actually one site where we couldn't find great hammock spots, specifically because of distance between trees or a lot of potential deadfall. And so 3 guys with those large X-Therm pads did fit in there. It was a very tight squeeze. I won't lie about that, but it's been phenomenal for what it is. I know Subaru Josh is probably going to do a review on this at some point. I just did a first looks, and I'll eventually do a review on it, but it's been phenomenal. I think the upgrade was definitely worth it in terms of the changes that they made. Some basic ones that you'll notice is that the larger arc pole is actually toward the front of the tent, not toward the rear anymore. I use this for family camping. I lend it to Josh a lot, and he uses it quite a bit. Has used it in Michigan. We use it in Utah. This tent has very, very few issues in my mind, and this is coming from a hammock guy. The only big one that I can see is because it's a single wall tent, you have to manage condensation and choose your campsite location appropriately. The other big one is that because it's still nylon, there's some sagging issues that you have to deal with. But as long as you figure that out and make sure you readjust your tent, tighten things down, fantastic. You seam seal it yourself, which was really, really easy. They offer seam sealing as a service, but Tarptent, I'm glad I opted for going with this. And for fitting 3 people and weighing, I'm pretty sure 3 pounds exactly, that is really hard to beat. And finally, I don't know if anyone noticed, but I actually upgraded from my Salomon Speedcross 3s to the Salomon Speedcross 4s. Why change with whatever works is what I end up saying. But this has worked well. You see, it still has the really aggressive tread on the bottom that Salomon Speedcrosses are known for. Really lightweight, awesome toe guard. I personally couldn't tell a huge difference. That's one reason I went back to using the Speedcross 4s. I wish it had a brighter color when I bought it. But I was at the point where I was going on a trip. The Speedcross 3s wore down. The only downside is that a lot of shoes don't do well on slick rock. I think the Salomon is even worse, but slightly so. When I tried the La Sportiva Wildcats, it still had trouble on slick rock, don't get me wrong. But because these lugs are so raised, you do have to be a little bit more careful than any other shoe, I think. It's more potential to slide, but it's been rock solid. I'll continue to use Salomon Speedcross 4s. 0 issues. No blisters, no problems, and I love the tread. Like I said before, the only downside is kind of wet, slick rock, but love the tread in any other sort of environment. No problems drying quickly. I know people are big fans of their Ultras. I'll stick with the Speedcross 4s. They just flat out work for me. That's my top 5. That's kind of what I would pick from all the gear that I've gone through this year. Purchased. I should mention that as well. All these things are things that I purchased myself. None of these things were sent to me. No one's paying for anything to be in this video. These are all things that I've tried, and they kind of get my big old thumbs up and stamp of approval. Let me know what you think in the comments below. If you had to pick 5 things that you have tried and used this year, what would your top 5 list be? Let me know in the comments. You know, I'll be reading, watching, and responding back because I'm always interested in trying out new gear and seeing if it works for you and for me. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Peace.